Assalamualaikum and hello everyone. My name is Nofatin Akila binti Fairuz. My student ID is 2029319855. Today, our group will present topic 2, which is a comparison of ethnic food waste across 3 generations. We focus on 2 ethnic regions in Malaysia, which are Sabah and Sarawak. We compare 3 generations, the grandmother, the mother, and the children. Sabah and Sarawak are located in the East Malaysia on the island of Borneo. They are home to many ethnic groups such as Iban, Bidayuh, Kadazan Dusun, Bajau, and Orang Ulu. The food culture in Sabah and Sarawak is strongly influenced by nature, geography, and traditional lifestyle. People traditionally depend on river, forest, and farming for their food sources. Because of this, eating habit, menu choices, and communal meals play an important role in their daily life and cultural identity. First, we will talk about the eating decorum, which means how people behave while eating. For the grandmother generations, their behavior while eating was very polite, and traditionally, they usually ate on the floor, use their hands, and wait for the elders before eating. Meals are often shared during family gatherings or traditional ceremonies. For the mother's generation, eating decorum started to change. People respected elders but began eating at the tables and using spoon and forks. Traditional manner was still practiced but become more relaxed. For the children's generations, eating decorums is less formal. Many children eat while using their phones or watching television. Traditional eating manners are not practiced as much as before, like this show the modern life change how people behave during their meals. Next, we will talk about the menu, which means the type of food they eaten and why the food was chosen. For the grandmother's generation, food usually was based on the hot and humid weather. Common foods were such as rice, fish, vegetables, and spicy dishes to help preserve the food. The menu also were influenced by the nature and the geography. People usually ate sagu, cassava, river fish, and forest vegetables because this was easy to get. For the mother's generations, traditional food was still common. However, the people started to eating outside more often and try food from other culture. For the children's generation, the menu was has changed a lot. Both regions now eat fast food, Western food, and food from the other countries. Traditional food is no longer eating or they less eating, especially by younger people. And this show that the globalization and modern lifestyle has influenced to what the people eat today. And now we will explain about the commensalism, which means which mean the eating together as a family or community. For the grandmother's generations, mm, the eating together is very important because family ate together every single day, especially at home. This help this helps strengthen their family relationship or bonds. For the mother generations, eating together is still happens, but less often because of the work schedules and the busy lifestyle make it difficult to the family to eat together every day. For the children's generations, the eating together is becoming more or less and become less common because many children eat alone at different times. This show that the modern life reduce the family meal time.
Hi, Assalamualaikum everyone. My name is Nur Alia Safia binti Kamarul Baharin. My matrix number is 2025626004. Now, I will continue about explaining custom and religion. In Sabah, food customs are strongly centered on community and togetherness. Food is not only meant for daily consumption but also serve as a symbol of social relationship within the community. In the grandmother's generations, food was mainly prepared using natural resources and shared within the community. Also, eating together was common, especially during traditional ceremonies and cultural events, where food played an important role in strengthening social bonds. While in the mother's generations, these customs are still maintained but have adapted to modern lifestyles. Traditional food are still prepared but combining within modern practices. The habit of eating together remains strong, although it is carried out in a simpler way. For the children's generations, they are more open to outside and modern food choices, and eating patterns are more flexible. However, food customs are still respected, especially during festival and cultural celebration. Overall, food customs in Sabah continue to emphasize community and togetherness even though they have evolved across generations. While in Sarawak, food customs are closely like to communal living, particularly in longhouse communities. Eating is viewed as an important social activity that involves sharing food. In the grandmother's generation, cooking and eating were done collectively. Food was not only for nourishment but also carried symbolic meaning during traditional ceremonies and festivals. In the mother generation, this custom remains strong, although food preparation has become simpler due to modern influences. Communal eating still takes place, especially during social or cultural events. For the children's generations, eating habits have become more individualistic and influenced by external cultures. Nevertheless, the tradition of sharing food and eating together is still preserved during major celebration and cultural event. So, in conclusion, food custom in Sarawak highlight the value of sharing and large community living despite changes brought by modernization. Now, we will continue about religious influence on food waste across three generations. Sabah religions plays an important role in shaping food practices, especially because the society is religiously diverse. Food choices and preparation are influenced by religious belief such as halal practices for Muslims and dietary customs for other religious groups. In the grandmother's generations, Religious practices related to food were strictly observed. For preparation followed religious rules closely, and meals during religious events were prepared within the community, reflecting strong faith and togetherness. In mother's generations, in mother's generation, religious food practices remain important but have become more adaptable. People still observe rules, religious dietary rules, but really more on official certification such as halal labels and simpler food preparation methods. While for the children's generation, religious awareness in food consumption is still present, but it is supported by modern systems such as food labeling, certification, and digital information. While exposed to a wide variety of food options, religions continues to guide their food choices, especially during religious celebrations. In overall, religions in Sabah continues to influence food ways, but it is practice has evolved to fit modern lifestyle. Now, we will continue about religious influence on food waste across three generations. Sabah religions plays an important role in shaping food practices, especially because the society is religiously diverse. Food choices and preparation are influenced by religious belief such as halal practices for Muslims and dietary customs for other religious groups. In the grandmother's generations, religious practices related to food were strictly observed. For preparation followed religious rules closely, and meals during religious events were prepared within the community, reflecting strong faith and togetherness. In mother's generation, religious food practices remain important but have become more adaptable. People still observe rules, religious dietary rules, but really more on official certification such as halal labels and simpler food preparation methods. While for the children's generation, religious awareness in food consumption is still present, but it is supported by modern systems such as food labeling, certification, and digital information. While exposed to a wide variety of food options, religions continues to guide their food choices, especially during religious celebrations. In overall, religions in Sabah continues to influence food ways, but it is practice has evolved to fit modern lifestyle. And last but not least is religion in Sarawak. It is also play a significant role in food practices, particularly within communal living settings such as longhouse. Religious belief influence what food is consumed and how food is shared during festival and rituals. In the grandmother's generation, religious food practices were closely tied to traditional ritual and community gatherings. Food was prepared and shared according to religious and spiritual beliefs, strengthening social and religious bond. In the mother's generations, these religious practices are still maintained, But food preparation has become more practical. While religious value remains strong, modern lifestyle have influenced how food is prepared and served. And last, for the children's generation, religious food practices continue to exist but are more flexible. This is why youngest generation depend more on younger generation depend more on institutional systems such as certification and influenced by culture exposed. For the children's generations, religious food practices continue to exist but are more flexible. Younger generation depend more on institutional systems such as certification and are influenced by multicultural exposure. However, religious identity is still reflected in food choices, especially during major religions and cultural celebrations. And in conclusion, religions remain an important foundation in Sarawak's food waste, even as practices adapt to the postmodern influences.
My name is Diana Lina binti Muhammad Noor. My metric number is 2025607342. I will continue to talk about the changes of food preparation in Sabah and Sarawak. So, for grandmother's generation, usually they use food from nature. They collected food from the forest, river, sea and backyard. They use wild plants like pucuk paku, midin and bamboo shoots. They cook freshwater fish and smoked meat. In Sarawak, Iban and Bidayuh, people use midin and daun ubi. In Sabah, Kadasan Dusun, people use bambangan, tuhau and river fish. For mother's generation, mothers use both traditional and market food. They buy ingredients from wet markets. They forage less than their mothers. They still cook traditional food but with cooking oil and modern spices. And for children generations, children depend on supermarkets and processed food. Traditional ingredients are used only during festivals. So the comparison of food changes from nature-based to the market-based and processed food. Food preparation in Sabah and Sarawak shows social change. Grandmothers use traditional knowledge and natural resources. Mothers balance tradition and modern life. Children rely on modern and processed food. So traditional food culture may dissipate if it's not preserved. So the comparison of technological changes for grandmother's generation, technology was very limited. Cooking used firewood and open fire. Food was cooked in bamboo, clay pots or over flames. Preservation used smoking, drying and fermenting. No electricity or kitchen machines were used. Food preparation depended on skills and experience. Technology was natural and traditional. So, for mother's generation, modern technology slowly entered the kitchen. Gas stove replaced firewood. Blenders and rice cookers became common. Ingredients were easier to buy from markets. Cooking became faster and more efficient. Traditional food was still cooked, but with modern tools. This generation balanced the tradition and technology. And for children generation, food preparation is highly dependent on technology. Microwave and air fryers are commonly used. Instant and frozen food are popular. Food delivery apps reduce home cooking. Many children lack traditional cooking skills. Technology replaces cooking knowledge. In the past, Kadazan Dusun and Iban families cook using bamboo and firewood. Today, younger generation use electric appliances. Traditional methods are used mainly during festivals like Kaamatan and Gawai. So, in Sabah and Sarawak, technological change has transformed food preparation. Older generation relied on traditional tools and knowledge. Middle generation adapted to modern kitchen technology. Younger generation depend heavily on modern appliances. This shift risks the loss of traditional food knowledge. So I will continue to talk about the comparison of culture changes. For grandmother's generation, food was deeply connected to culture. Cooking followed customs and traditions. Meals were prepared together with family and neighbors. Food symbolized identity and respect for ancestors. Traditional food was eaten daily, not only during festivals. Culture strongly guided food practices. For mother's generation, traditional food is still important. However, modern lifestyle affects cooking habits. Time constraint reduce traditional food preparation. Culture is maintained but adapted. Traditional food is often cooked for special occasions. Culture begins to change but remains relevant. For children generation, food culture is less important in daily life. Eating habits are influenced by global culture. Fast food and Western food are popular. Traditional food is mainly symbolic. Many young people associate traditional food only with festivals. For example, for Sabah and Sarawak, among the Iban and Kadazan Dusun communities, traditional dishes were once part of everyday meals. Today, younger generation eat them mostly in Gawa and Kaamatan. So, the food culture changes across generation, from strong cultural identity to cultural adaptation to cultural dilution. In conclusion, eating decorum, menu choices, and food preparation, commercialism, customs, and religion show that food is more than just nutrition. It reflects cultural identity and social values. While traditional practices shape how people eat and interact, technological changes have transformed food preparation, availability, and consumption patterns. At the same time, cultural changes influence attitudes towards convenience, health, and global cuisines. Together, these factors demonstrate that food culture is dynamic, balancing tradition and modernity. Understanding these changes help us appreciate how food continues to connect people and preserve heritage and to adapt to contemporary lifestyles.